Devotees to His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj's daily online class. My humble obeisances to you all, and thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we would be continuing, Maharaj, with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Departure of Lord Krishna, Chapter 14, Verse 9.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasmana Sampado Rajyam Dharpanam Kuram Pajaham Asa Sampatna Vijayo Lokascha Yadanugrahat. From him only, all our kingly opulences, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subjects, victory over our enemies, and future accommodations in higher planets are possible. All this is due to his causes, mercy upon us. Purport: material prosperity consists of a good wife, good home, sufficient land, good children, aristocratic family relations, victory over competitors, and by pious work, attainment of accommodations in the higher celestial planets for better facilities and material amenities. These facilities are earned not only by one's hard manual labor or by unfair means, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Prosperity earned by one's personal endeavor also depends on the mercy of the Lord. Personal labor must be there in addition to the Lord's benediction. But without the Lord's benediction, no one is successful simply by personal labor. The modernized man of Kali Yuga believes in personal endeavor and denies the benediction of the Supreme Lord. Even a great sannyasi of India delivered speeches in Chicago protesting the benedictions of the Lord. And as far as Vedic Shastras are concerned, as we find in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate sanction for all success rests in the hands of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhisthira admits this truth in his personal success, and it behooves one to follow in the footsteps of a great king and devotee of the Lord to make life a success. If one could achieve success without sanction of the Lord, then no medical practitioner would fail to cure a patient. Despite the most advanced treatment of a suffering patient, or the most up-to-date medical practitioner, there is death, and even in the most hopeless case, without medical treatment, the patient is cured astonishingly. Therefore, the conclusion is that God's sanction is the immediate cause of all happiness. Good or bad, any successful man should be grateful to the Lord for all he has achieved. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Phinamana Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Govinda Sesa Suryavari Pastyat Yere Satani Varshakopa Yishya Yuta Subhadevi Vachya Vinutanam Bhavadyo Vaishnava Yo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Siddhanta Srivastava Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. A devotee knows that by the grace of the Lord everything is happening, and whatever is happening is successful by his mercy. Non-devotees, in their endeavors for material activities and gain by which they perform the activity, they put all their emphasis on what they can see and what they can do. Behind the scenes is the hands of the Lord. They can't see that. But they should be intelligent enough to see that even though two people make the same endeavor, one may be successful and another person is not. And they always have their theories for that. But actually, it's the grace of the Lord in all his cases, because nothing happens outside of the Lord's sanction. Both material and spiritual are within his control. For the material, Maya Dakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sachivacharam, Hetunananda Kunteya, Vigadi Paripartante. Krishna says this material energy works under my direction, producing all moving and non-moving beings. By its will, it's created, annihilated again and again. But Krishna puts everything in place and it works according to his arrangement. And for the devotees, they work underneath the Daivi Prakriti, the spiritual energy. They are not separated from the Lord, and they know that the activities that they perform are in connection with the Lord. Therefore, they give all credit to the Lord for whatever is manifested by the activities. So this is the difference between the non-devotees and the devotees. Therefore, the non-devotees are always bewildered, and the devotees will never be bewildered. The devotees see the hand of the Lord in everything. Even apparently reverses in life that come upon the devotee. The devotee sees his opportunities to make advancement, to learn something, become more detached, to depend on Krishna even more. Sometimes a disturbing situation comes, and because of that, one becomes more intelligent in that situation and becomes better in functioning in that situation because they require more effort. And by that effort, they arouse intelligence and they arouse the mercy of the Lord. So a devotee never feels himself outside of the Lord. Therefore, when things go right, for the non-devotee, they take credit. And when things go wrong for the non-devotee, they blame the Lord. But a devotee never blames nor gives credit. He simply works under the direction of the Lord. And whatever is manifested or not manifested, the devotees can be satisfied in them. Because for the devotee, everything is done, or all the results are given simply for the benefit of the devotee. And the real devotee is always happy in a whole situation, either loss or gain. Because the devotee has no desire for loss and gain, they simply have the desire to serve the Lord. Whatever gain they gain, by that, they offer back to the Lord in service. And if there's some loss, they accept it as the will of the Lord. So therefore, a devotee doesn't have to endeavor anything except to serve the Lord. And they connect everything with the Lord. Whatever they do, or whatever they achieve in their activities, everything is connected to the Lord. So this verse here, and Krishna says throughout the Bhagavad Gita, in different places, that ultimately, he says, Hom Sarvashya Prabhavo Matak Sarvam Prabhartante Iti Mitva Vajanti Man Buddha Bhava Simantaka. I am the source of all material and spiritual world. Everything comes from me. Those who are actually wise engage in my devotional service and worship with all their heart. The devotee's life is simple. They simply try to use whatever they've been given by the Lord in the service of the Lord, whether it's external or some abilities, some intelligence. In any case, the devotees are always happy because the Lord always reciprocates by giving that devotee knowledge and of himself and detachment from material life. So simply the devotees, in all of their activities, they receive the benediction of knowledge or detachment. And in many cases, they find themselves experiencing the happiness of the activity. So a devotee is always naive. But people, because they don't either believe in the Lord, or even if they believe in the Lord, they don't even know how the Lord is working. They have very little knowledge about the Lord. They say the Lord is great, the Lord is good, but they don't know what is that greatness and how that goodness manifests itself. So today's Kali Yuga is ignorant. People are just ignorant. And therefore they're always suffering. Or at least they're always in bewilderment about how things go on. They simply try to adjust their own activities to improve the quality of it, or adopt another activity to become successful, or stop a present activity to stop being defeated by the enemy. So material life is just confusion and bewilderment because they can't understand that behind everything is the mercy of the Lord. And for the non-devotees, his mercy comes in different forms, either giving them the results or through the material energy. Material energy is the provider and the punisher of it. When the non-devotees commit sinful activities, material energy punishes them, and that punishment is ultimately coming through the material energy from the Lord himself. So he is Gupta, he's hidden. And therefore they can't see him, nor they can understand how he's working. But a devotee can. So a devotee knows that I try my best to serve the Lord, and I try to please the Lord in my efforts to serve by pleasing the Lord's devotees. And that's the essence of devotional service. They're not interested in anything that's not connected to the Lord, whatever activities there may be, whatever subject matters that may even become interesting. The devotees are not interested in it, although for the non-devotees it becomes a great source of interest. I mean, the devotees find it just very extraneous or even bothersome, and they don't take part in it. But the devotees connect everything with the Lord. Whatever they do, they keep the Lord in the center. And therefore, they're always connected with the Lord through the activities of devotional service. Now, this is Krishna consciousness. Here we have Arjuna. He's simply explaining why everything is now not the same, and because ultimately it's understood that the Lord is left. When the Lord leaves, things change. But then that Lord remains manifest through the process of service to him. But initially, the devotees here they were with Krishna, and they were experiencing such happiness and victory in all of their, it says here, kingly opulence, good wives, life, progeny, everything, control, defeating of enemies, and even success of attaining higher planets. All this was because of him. And so the devotees have no problem because they simply depend on him. And even if the Lord does something or allows something to happen, because Krishna works in that way, sometimes he allows material energy to punish a devotee who is acting wrongly, It's actually not material energy, it's spiritual energy, but it comes through as material energy. And then the devotee understands he's getting some mercy in the form of correction or purification. Or if things are auspicious, then the devotee gives all credit to the Lord and is happy in their devotion. So everything is, yeah. So Krishna explains, if you turn to the second canto, 9th chapter, there's one nice verse that illustrates Krishna's all complete existence. Go to that verse, second canto, 9th chapter, verse number, I think it's 30, starts with 34, I think. There's a few verses there. These are called the nutshell verses. You keep going. Here, you can start here. Ritam yaviprate, ritam yaprati yatam, navayeta chatvanam, navidyam atmano mayam, yado vanso yado tamaham. O Brahma, whatever appears to be in the valley, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Notice the my illusionary energy, that reflection will appears in darkness. Next verse. Next verse. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist with everything created. At the same time, I am outside of everything. So here it appears to be a contradiction. The Lord is within and without simultaneously. Next verse. A person who is searching after the absolute truth must search it up to this and also directly and indirectly. What verse was that? Was that 36? Yeah. Yeah, that's 36. Go back to 33 or 32. Actually, verse 32. There's one verse I'm looking for, 32. Next verse, 33. I think it might be 33. Yeah, here we go. This is the verse. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who is existing before creation, when there is nothing but myself, nor was there any material nature, the cause of the creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So Krishna's, he was there before creation, he is there during creation, he is the cause of creation, he's within it, and at the same time with outside of it. And at the same time, when all of it's annihilated, he remains. So this verse really sums up the whole nature of the absolute truth, that there is nothing but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he manifests himself in his different forms, and he controls everything through his different energies, and he creates different energies in order to facilitate both the material and spiritual existence. So nothing is outside of him, including us. We exist within him, although we may think we are separate from him. So we're surrounded by Krishna, we're within Krishna. Everything is, so there's no other place to go but to connect with Krishna in a conscious way. This is true for all, for non-devotees and devotees, but the devotees have a conscious awareness of Krishna, and that comes by serving the Lord, of devotion and service. And therefore, they make friends with the Lord, and they exchange loving relationships with the Lord, and they serve the Lord and reciprocate as the Lord is reciprocating their service in different ways. They're happy because they're with the Lord in all times. Even if they don't experience it, they understand it, it's true. And then, of course, the experiences may come and go, but for those who are very much fixed in devotional service, that experience is constant. And then it becomes mature in actually developing love for Krishna. This is the nature of the absolute truth. So one who is aware of this, there's no other question but to surrender to the Lord in devotion. That's And surrender means complete, not just, well, I surrender my time, but not my material and facilities. Or I can give some donation and I can do some chanting, but still I have my own life. Then one will never really experience the happiness of Krishna consciousness. One will simply see Krishna as simply one that they have to pacify by doing certain things, by giving certain things. But the devotee knows that full surrender to the Lord is actually surrender to the Lord, not partial. We think by maintaining a partial existence, surrender to the Lord, we can find some happiness and we can fulfill our own desires. But one who is completely surrendered to the Lord, then all their desires are automatically filled perfectly. And even if Krishna doesn't fulfill their desires according to the way they want it, they are always in the best position to receive what is needed in their life for devotion to the Lord. They're happy. They're peaceful. They have no second program. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, that was a very impactful message about the position of the Lord and how it impacts our lives and how we can take it. So, dear devotees, can we start the Q&A? Can you please, if you can, please start the video so we can make it an interactive sessions, make it more personal with Maharaj and with ourselves as well. We can open up for Q&A. You can go ahead and ask, or alternatively type, and I can ask the questions on your behalf if you cannot speak. So Maharaj, whilst the devotees are contemplating, I have a question. Can you, Maharaj, clarify, because in Bhagavad Gita also it states there are 5 causes of action, and one should not consider only one's effort as the all in all. And I think Bhagavad Gita also mentions some other elements as well, like the material body and things like that. So can you please elaborate on that so we can understand how there are other elements as play as well for any doer of an action?
Well, yeah, but one of the elements is the super soul. And without the super soul, the action is not complete. Only when the super soul gives the final, either directly or indirectly through the material energy or through the spiritual energy, is the activity completed. So the endeavor, the time, the place, the endeavor, the time, place, and the super soul. So these are the ingredients which make up the activity, but you initiate the activity by your desire, and then you put all of these, and these other ingredients are needed in order to complete the activity. But the final results are dependent on the super soul.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, in that verse, or you also mentioned time, and that is also in the Bhagavad Gita. So, is this the reason also why it is said that certain actions should only be done in a certain time, auspicious, inauspicious to that, because that is an impact to the outcome as
Yeah,
well? Yeah.
that's
Okay.
true. Yeah, the time factor is also. There's one, it says, there's one chapter, the Pandavas retired timely. They retired right at the right time. If it is not the right time, pregnancy won't happen. But when it's the right time, then pregnancy will happen. That's why astrology sometimes is used for these material things. When to travel, when not to travel, when to get married, when to, begin with begetting a child. All of these things are in the element of timeliness. Like, certain foods you eat in the morning, which are conducive. Other foods you might eat later on in the day. That's all because that's somewhat relative, but it's also seen as timely within this certain context. So we live our life in that way also.
Thank you, Maharaj. Shridevi Mataji, go ahead and you can ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, you just spoke almost at the end of the class where you said that partial surrender will not make us happy because we'll still be clinging to our own material ideas and so on. So is it that partial surrender is the same as being a mixed devotee?
Yeah, mixed devotion. I surrender something to the material energy and something for Krishna. Mixed devotion can't give you satisfaction. That's why only Lord Chaitanya explains that devotional service actually begins when one is spontaneous. Vaidhi Bhakti is just to get you to Raganuga Bhakti. It's a preliminary which is required to get you to the stage of spontaneous devotional service or devotional service that is unmixed with anything material. If you have a nice sweet rice, you put a little salt in it, and the sweet rice is not the same anymore.
So that means only on the fully surrendered platform, we are executing pure devotional service and we begin to taste the real happiness of Krishna consciousness, which is making Krishna happy.
Not exactly. Even the idea is that there are two types of pure devotees. One who is purified from all material taints and has attained the stage of Ananya Bhakti, of pure devotional service. They're tasting the happiness of devotional service constantly. Then there is those who are surrendered completely, although still they have material impurities, their desires. They don't act on it, but they're surrendered. So they pray to the Lord, please bring me to the stage of pure devotion to you, because they have pure desire, but they're still not purified yet. So they may not be experiencing all the happiness, but at least they are in knowledge that full surrender to the Lord is the success of bhakti.
Thank you. Thank you. That makes it very clear, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Devotees, any other reflections, comments would be welcomed. It's a very important topic. Maharaj, I have a point. Prabhupada makes a very nice, he's mentioned this in other places as well, where despite of having all medical facilities, if that person is destined to die or, the will of the Lord, and nobody can save him, but then despite unusual and gone cases medically, they survive because that was the sanction and the will of the Lord. And that's quite profound if you think about it.
I can give you an example.
Sorry, Maharaj?
I can give you an example.
Please, Maharaj. Yes.
During the COVID time, there was one young man, he was just beginning the practice of devotional service. He was in jail. And he got coronavirus. So he was put in isolation and with no treatment at all. And so he had the virus, no treatment, in isolation. And he just chanted that song and called out to the Lord for the Lord's mercy and prayed, chanted, and after about a week, he was cured completely. No medical treatment, nothing. So the Lord decided to show mercy upon him because he surrendered completely to the Lord. Yeah, and I have a letter which he actually wrote explaining his situation. So there's an example, no medical treatment, a virus that could cause death, but at the same time, he got cured simply by taking shelter of the Lord.
Such a powerful.
There's others, just like there's this one guy, I just saw him recently. He's a gross materialist, really gross materialist. But he describes his whole life. It's interesting. You know how he was in the army, he got out, got all kinds of awards, and then he became a police officer, and he had a family, nice position, at least in material society. Then the war in Afghanistan broke out, and he decided, well, I should fight for my country. Other people were telling him not to go. There's no reason, but he wanted to go anyway. So he went into the most dangerous areas of the fighting. And while he was there, he was a pretty heavy firefight. And he got hit with 4 bullets. And he was on the verge of death. But somehow or other, even though the medical help wasn't perfect at the time he got hit, he was saved. And then he came back, got himself back, and came out to service. Now he's trying to help people by doing various kinds of welfare work for people. And he said, it wasn't my time. He kept saying it wasn't my time. Although it appeared to be a death situation, for some reason the Lord preserved his life, and he wasn't a devotee. He wasn't a devotee. He said, God gave me more time. He kept saying it wasn't my time. So there is, when he say it wasn't his time, there's the karmic play also that comes into the factor for the non-devotees. Certain karma may rise where it changes a person's situation around. It's actually the hand of the Lord through the karmic energy, but it's the karmic energy is also the Lord's energy also. So that's an interesting situation that happened.
Thanks, Maharaj, for sharing that. Maharaj, in response to that, Hema Mataji is asking on the chat, Hare Krishna Maharaj, does it mean that we should rely on Krishna's will and avoid medical intervention?
Yeah, well, that's up to you. That's up to you. I can't say yes, I can't say no, because some people, they go that way, and others, they don't go that way. And both, it may be considered right. But generally, when we get some kind of ailment, If we take some medical facility, generally. So that's normal. But you can't ask Krishna, like, well, Krishna says, take medical facility, and you say, well, I'll just depend on you. Then you might find yourself, outside of it, you might find yourself leaving the body. If Krishna sends medical facility or medical facility is available, why not take it? That's common sense. And the other one is to think, well, Prabhupada tells the story of one man who's living in the village. And he's a simple man. And then he has complete faith in the Lord. And then it starts raining. The rain comes and the village area is flooding. Many people are leaving. And so the water's rising up on his house. And so the boat comes along and says, come on, get in the boat. We can get you out of here. He says, no, I simply depend on the Lord in all cases. And the boat goes away. The water keeps coming, it rises higher. He's up on the roof of his house. Then a helicopter comes and says, come on, we can get you out of here. He says, no, I just depend on the Lord in all cases. And then after some time they leave. And then the water rises up and he drowns and he dies. And then he meets the Lord. And he says to the Lord, well, why didn't you save me? I had full faith in you. You didn't save me. The Lord said, I did. He sent a boat. He sent a helicopter.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sridevi Mataji, you have a question? Please go ahead.
I'm just asking this for my own clarification. So Guru Maharaj, one of Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disciples told me this about his ending pastimes, that when Maharaj got COVID, he was unwell, yes, and he was in quite a bit of distress, but he didn't want to go to the hospital. He didn't want to go on the ventilator. He didn't want to be intubated. He didn't want any of those things. But he was surrendered to the will of the GBC. And he said, okay, the GBC want me to go to the hospital, I'll go to the hospital. So the GBC ruled that he should go to the hospital. And so he entered the hospital. And then from then on, it just got worse. He was intubated, he was on the ventilator, then his lungs got flooded, pneumonia, so on, so on. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, the pure devotee of the Lord is, of course, fully surrendered to the will of the Lord. So what are we supposed to understand by this enacting of these winding up leelas of the pure devotee?
I can't comment on that because whatever I comment, it's just going to be an opinion. That's it.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, the pure devotee is simply under the care of the Lord. Yeah. So then again, the other factor is, and we can say that Krishna wanted to take him back. And it looks like that also. Bhakti Charu Maharaj had a strong desire to be with Prabhupada again. He also said, I'm always feeling the separation of Srila Prabhupada. So we can't really say when it comes to a pure devotee, nobody can say. Because the Lord handles that completely, 100%. So the material arrangements may look like to be faulty or not faulty, but for a pure devotee, everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord.
So then one should not lament whichever way a pure devotee lives. For example, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he left in an accident. And like this, we have other examples. So one should simply understand that the Lord has made that arrangement.
Now, is it? Yeah, they are. Let me see. Let me see if I can remember where I read it. I just read it a couple of days ago. It's in the 18th chapter of the first canto. Can't remember which verse it is. Somewhere around 24th or 25th verse. I don't know. I wish I could find it. It'll take me a while to research it. But actually, I might be able to research it through my notes. I think I made notes on this particular thing. Yeah, give me a minute to check my notes here, and I'll be right back. Yeah, it's verse number 28, 118:28. You can go to that verse. 118:28 in the purport. Keep going down the page. Okay. The merciful Lord, here, it says, sometimes creates such an awkward position for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence. But outwardly, the situation appears to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord always under the protection of the Lord in any condition, frustration or success. The Lord is supreme guide for the devotees. The pure devotees, therefore, accept all conditions of frustrations as blessings from the Lord. But the non-devotees can't see that. Okay?
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Let me check the chat window. No. Okay.
Parijata. Very well.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Stay to the end. I want to ask you a question at the end.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you.
Sukavaha Mataji, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to every devotee in your lotus feet. Guru Maharaj, my question is a little bit away from this topic. I'm wondering about the commitments to our devotional activity in the spiritual way to improve our spiritual path and journey. And in the family commitments. For us, we are not pure devotees. We are just trying to practice Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, we have got some family commitments towards our immediate family. And sometimes, we have to choose between the devotional service and the family commitments. So how far can we go to help out the family, and how far can we go to do the devotional service? Because it's very sometimes difficult to balance it. If you
Well,
can,
that requires some intelligence. How to keep your devotional service in line and get yourself enough time and energy for devotional service where you're satisfied, and at the same time be able to fulfill family commitments up to a certain point. The family commitments are unlimited also, or appear to be unlimited. So certain things, yeah. Like, my first cousin's getting married. I've been invited to the wedding, the same time that Maharaj is having his retreat. So, what should I do?
Guru Maharaj, up to that far, I know what to do, but it's I'm talking about literally immediate family, children and husband.
Yeah, but in every life you get a husband and some children, a mother, a father. No matter what life you've been born in, you get one. But and it's very rare to get a life with a spiritual master. That is completely rare. That comes only after thousands of births and pious activities.
Mm.
But every life, you got a mother, you got a father, you got children, family, family commitments, life after life after life. Even the birds have their family commitments.
True.
So what's important is our spiritual life, because that way we can free ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, and then go back home and engage in the real family, the spiritual people. And then you're there, relatives, mothers, fathers, it's all spiritual, and everything is on, it's Chintamani. It's Nivasavai Saiva, what is that word? It is full of transcendental happiness. Family life is, in the material world, is just full of drudgery. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta satisfy this guy, you have to go to this birthday party. You have to, make sure you get all the presents for everybody on Christmas and it's a big botheration.
True. It's
So,
true.
keep your family commitments to the essential things. And keep it to the immediate family. When you get into the extended family, then there's no limit to how long
Yeah,
anything.
true.
Take care of your children, that's your responsibility until they get married. And then, provide the household, which is required, but do it in a Krishna conscious way.
Okay,
Like
thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Invite devotees over to your home, have kirtan, have pravachan, have prasadam, and then you're opening up the spiritual family also.
Mm. Yeah. That helps. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. I think Anna Mataji posted something. She would want to share it. It's quite nice reflection. Mataji, do you want to go ahead?
Who's that?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. I just literally was reading Spiritual Warrior. I always get confused with the numbers, the V and the 1. I think that's a 6. I'm not very good with Roman numerals, but that one. And I read a story, if you want me to share it, which just made me really think about this situation and the topic we were discussing.
Go ahead.
Can I share it very much?
Yeah.
Okay. So it said about, let us reflect on another story which can help illustrate this point. So there was once a ship filled with many travelers taking a long voyage across the sea. At one point during its journey, a storm destroyed the ship, killing the captain and all of the passengers except one man. This man was a good swimmer and consequently made it to the shore on the island. Upon reaching the land, he felt most fortunate considering that the ship and all the other people met their dismay. However, his journey had just begun. He was alone and had to find some means to survive until someone discovered him. He built a very simple hut and would go out daily looking for eatables. After many days, which turned into weeks and later into months, he began to feel that maybe he was the one who was more unfortunate than the other passengers who died very quickly. Due to his isolation and austere life, he was suffering so much mentally and sometimes physically, causing him to think that he would have been better if he died with the other passengers and crew. One day, while looking for food, he saw a huge cloud of smoke in the direction of his hut. As he began to return home, he was feeling extremely depressed because he had not seen any humans or ships since his own ship had sunk. He was starting to begin to accept that he would simply die without anyone ever coming to rescue him. While thinking such demoralizing thoughts, he approached his hut only to discover that it had caught fire. As he started running towards the hut to watch it burn, he felt like committing suicide. Not only had he been left to slowly die on the island, but now his little shelter was up in flames. He was just on the verge of cursing God and perhaps committing suicide when all of a sudden he began to see a ship in the distance heading straight towards the island. He remained stunned, unsure of himself. Was this a hallucination, and had he gone mad, or was he having some kind of death experience? As he tried to reflect, the ship came closer until it finally docked the island. Surprisingly, the captain stepped off the ship and walked directly towards the man. Choked up with tears, the man cried, "Have you come to rescue me? So many months I have been here alone, suffering intensely, and today my suffering climaxed. How did you know I was here?" The captain replied, "I saw from afar your smoke signal." The man began to cry in great joy. The man's faith in God was restored. He realized that the Lord does things in his own time because he knows that what is best for everyone. And in his own case, the Lord allowed his hut to catch fire at the exact time when the ship sailed by. This story provides another way of understanding suffering, and that sometimes suffering or the suffer we can not see the bigger picture, and we can be impatient. So I just thought that was quite relevant to the story or the discussion we were talking about, because sometimes we can't actually see the bigger picture and why we're going through this, but Krishna is like in control and he knows when the right moment is to relieve us from this, or just, you know, if we're ill, sometimes it's for, like we said, karmic reasons. But it really resonated with me with that story, so I hope you didn't mind me sharing it.
Have faith in the Lord, then everything will work out in that way. Requires faith. But that's the story of life. Thank
It's
you.
very true. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful story. Thank you. I think we have Sridevi Mataji.
There was a question about chanting in the chat.
Yes, I was going to say that. Mataji, please go ahead and ask. Sridevi Mataji?
No, it wasn't Sridevi.
Oh,
Somebody else.
Supriya
it was
Mataji.
Supriya.
Sorry, my mistake. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead and ask your question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna everyone. Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, this is the question about chanting. I usually do use app, which is a mantra meditation app, and I found it quite useful, this app, wherein you can adjust the speed, and it also you can also do your own monitoring, and also you can it automatically records your laps, and also you can get a monthly report, and it automatically calculates your marks, like when you start chanting at 5 o'clock and end by 8 o'clock, you get 100% if you finish 16 rounds and all those things. So
you can share it with devotees. Just make it available. Anybody who wants to just share it with devotees.
I found it quite useful, Maharaj, but one only question is, are we supposed to chant like this, or are we supposed to chant only our own voice? Like, I mean, I chant along with this, so I found it useful in two ways. One is when I put my headphone, I don't hear anything outside noise. I only hear Prabhupada's voice through that mantra meditation app. and I can hear.
I said you should hear your own voice also.
I also hear my own voice loudly, because when we chant like that with our headphone on, we hear our own voice loudly, louder than if we
All
don't.
right, well, if it works for you, fine, that's good.
It's okay, right, Maharaj?
Yeah, it works for you.
Okay. Yeah, also, it helps me in another way that I found when I do just by myself, sometimes I might skip the beats, like, pardon me?
Made your point, thank you. Thank you very much. If it works for you, continue.
Thank you. Thank you for asking the question. And
Anybody who wants to know about it, they can contact Supriya.
Maharaj, I have a small announcement to make. So tomorrow's class is with Bhakti Sangha to all the devotees. It is at 12:20 p.m. UK time, and it's on Srimad Bhagavatam 7:120, 12:20 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay. 7/120. Okay, good. Okay, Parijata, I have to ask you a question.
Yes, Maharaj.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Can I do that?
Yes.
I really look forward to our GV retreat. And
Yes, Maharaj.
I'm hoping you're coming to the retreat.
Yes, Maharaj.
You are.
Yes, Maharaj. One message for the
Okay.
world.
Yeah, I mean, without you, the retreat is not the same.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. I'm serious. I really, the last two retreats you were there really made a difference when you're present.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj. It had a great impact on my life. I mean, GEV is always special. That meet is always special, and I get to see you. So I always look forward to it.
Ferrari's coming too?
I will ask him.
Okay. Okay, good. I didn't see your name on the list. That's why I'm asking.
I'm never on the list, Maharaj. I'm above the list.
You are.
I'm on no list ever.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that you're going to be there.
I will be there, Maharaj.
Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. So we can conclude today's session.
And anybody else wants to join the retreat, it's November 29th, it's December 7th. We close the registration, but still, if you want to come, we can make arrangements. Contact Mother Dimple and just tell her you're a last minute entry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for today, class.
Haribo.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mom.
Hare Krishna.
Padma Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai, Granth
Hare
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.